Modern life deserves a modern way to pay.
Jane, you are getting a ticket.
Online and on your phone.
Nope, it's been master-passed.
For the little victories. Am I right? MasterPass, the secure way to pay from your bank. Don't just buy it, MasterPass it.
You can come live with us amongst the husbands and the addicts. These are crazy times down in stellar music. You can answer the phone and talk any way I choose to. Come on, clean out the bank and pop off your daddy. You can come live with us amongst the husbands and the addicts. These are crazy times down in stellar music. You can answer the phone and talk any way I choose to. Come on, oh come on. Oh, 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 come on.
Did you hear about the Transform Your Summer sweepstakes?
Totally. Maybe you'll win a trip to Hollywood.
If I win, I will take my car. Hop in, we'll carpool.
New color-changing slushes. And see Transformers The Last Night in theaters June 21st. This is how you Sonic.
Are you still out there? Are you still out there? Because enough is enough. I'm finished with love, but I have the guts to say I still care. Ooh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm over the rush. I'm divided and lost. I'm not giving
Hey, good morning, happy Sunday. Good to see everybody. Well, I can't see anybody. I can't see anything. Looks like the video's a little dark. Stand by just a second. I forgot to turn the office light on. Be right back. Ah, well, that's a little better. All right. Hope everybody can hear me okay. It's a little noisy in here this morning, I think. Maybe that's just my own perception. We're going to be talking a little bit today about perception, and we're going to be talking about it's not God's fault. And this is going to kind of maybe sound like a rant, but it's not. I'm not ranting. I'm not jumping up and down. But I am kind of reminding human beings it's empty. That sucks. Boy, I mistimed that, didn't I? We're going to be kind of talking about things that people blame on God, Goddess, the gods, Jesus, Muhammad, Ali, things that go on in the world and things that happen in our lives that people are very quick to blame on the gods and the goddesses. Blame on something or someone other than themselves. And it really causes a problem when human beings don't take responsibility and don't look outside themselves for actions of other people. And I thought about this last week when I was watching a news clip on our favorite news station here in North Texas. And I want to preface this parallel, if you will, with the fact that I never want ever for anyone's child to get sick, especially stricken with a terminal illness for which they're not going to survive. I mean, that's horrible. No one ever expects to outlive their children. But almost every newscast, thank you, almost every newscast that we're seeing on television nowadays, and newspaper clippings and things that you read, you hear people standing out there saying, how could God let this happen? And this one newsreel starts out with the woman sitting there, and she says, I was so very angry with God. How could a loving, benevolent God let my baby get terminally ill. And you know that 15 or 20-second clip really sent me into a rage. And even way back in a land far, far away, when I was attending Christian churches, it angered me to no end for people to sit in the pew and blame God for the discriminatory actions and the destructions that others caused during during marches and what have you. It angered me then, and it angers me now, when human beings are committing atrocities. When Mother Earth is doing what Mother Earth does. She has tornadoes, she has hurricanes, she has natural disasters, earthquakes, volcano eruptions. Things happen on this planet on a daily basis. We, as in human beings, we're simply visitors on this planet for a short period of time while we live out our lives as best as we can. It's not the goddess's fault we get in her way. Now, and then you have the people that break into businesses, destroy private property, and when the officer shows up to arrest them, they lunge at the officer and the officer shoots their ass. Okay. But then the family wants to blame it on the officer because their family member broke into an establishment and is tearing up this establishment, and when the officer shows up, the person or persons in question lunge at the officer and they get their ass shot. Well, the first thing the families want to do is they want to blame it on the officers. They want to blame it on the city. They want to blame it on God. They want to blame it on anybody but the person that broke in and destroyed private property. We as a society, and I'm not just talking about American society, I'm talking about the global society as a whole. Human beings are so very quick to blame the gods, to blame someone else, to blame anything else or anyone else but the actions and the momentum of themselves. They are very quick to have issues with others rather than to stand back and look in a mirror at the self and go, wait, is there something I could have done to cause this? And I've done several broadcasts. I've done a couple of radio broadcasts, and I think I've done some video broadcast on cause and effect, momentum. Things that we may get mixed up in someone else's momentum. Something someone caused back here could have started that snowball effect that ended up getting us caught up in the middle of it. One, we didn't see it coming, so we couldn't step out of the way. Or two, we made the choice, we made the decision not to get out of the way. It's not God's fault. People are stupid. And I'm probably going to get my ass handed to me by some people with this video because they're going to take it personal. They're going to think I'm talking about them. Well, if you're stupid, then maybe I am talking about you. If you're one of those individuals that are the perpetual victim and never take responsibility for your own action or inaction, then maybe I am talking about you. But I am definitely talking to those individuals that are in such a hurry to blame God or Goddess for things that happen to them. Now let's talk about a few scenarios. Scenario one, and like I say, this is the one that my heart goes out to those parents. I would pray it doesn't, but I would be shattered and heartbroken if anything ever happened to my daughter. But the occasion happens where young people make mistakes. And boy, they're costly ones. When I was in my teens and early 20s, I made a buttload of mistakes, and some of them were extremely costly. One of the mistakes I made when I was younger, working in the oil field, I wasn't paying attention to what others were doing around me. That little accident right there cost me 2 years out of work. More than that, of physical pain, surgeries, and what have you. But the point to that is I remember never blaming God for the actions of a stoned operator on an oil rig that loosened a clamp that he should not have loosened. I never blamed God for that. I never blamed God for the oil field operator's stupidity. I never blamed God for him coming to work stoned. He got his. Not by me, but he did get his. Not by God, but our goddess, but he did get his. And that was a lifetime ago. But also the things that have happened to me through the years. I have occasionally gone into meditation and asked the gods and goddesses, what's the deal with the yo-yo effect? What's the deal with the cat toy effect? You know, sometimes how you, well, I don't have one. Sometimes how you dangle a string in front of a cat, and every time the cat reaches for it, you pull the string up. I've had that happen with jobs and what have you over several years, and it gets old. So you go to meditation, you go to you go into council, and you say, what the hell? What's up with the cat toy effect, right? Just about the time it's in your hand, just about the time you can reach out and touch it, something seems to yank it. Seems to yank it away. Well, what's given back to me by Spirit Guide is, have you ever thought to look at your own actions? Have you ever thought to look at maybe during the interview you said something wrong? Maybe you introduced yourself incorrectly, dressed wrong, or you just simply weren't what they were looking for. And in relationships, you know, just outside of jobs, let's take a look at relationships. How many relationships have we been in the past where either our actions are inaction or our mate's actions or inaction has caused the momentum effect of causing the relationship to split? Now, the gods have nothing to do with that. God and Goddess has nothing to do with us human beings being stupid and doing stupid shit. And we get into this thought process because I've been there. And I've had several students ask me, why do I continue to attract psychopaths? Been there, done that. Why do I attract psychopath people? Why do I attract abusive people? Why do I attract the type of person that wants to continue to abuse me? Well, I don't know. Let's think about your actions and reactions, the types of people you choose to hang out with, and the types of people you choose to associate yourself with, and see if something that you're doing or not doing is attracting this type of person. Or do you, somewhere back in the back part of your programmed brain from when you were younger, think that that's the only kind of person you can attract? It has nothing to do with the gods, has nothing to do with the way God and Goddesses do things, and it has nothing to do with the fact that our councils and our gods and goddesses periodically like to screw with human beings just because we're fun to watch. But maybe it has to do with our own momentum, things that we have caused, things that we have done in the past, right? So it's not God's fault. So let's take a look, see if we've got any questions over in the chat area. Let's see, people joining, people leaving. Jennifer says, we make our own choices. You're absolutely correct. However, in retrospect, Jennifer, we do make our own choices, but there are times where we get hung up in other people's choices, other people's momentum. There are some times where things happen that we have to look at cause and effect of the past to see if we allowed ourselves to get mixed up in somebody else's karma or somebody else's choices. Robert says Dallas area Pagans has a YouTube channel. Yes, so do I. And I will be double posting these videos on that YouTube channel. My software not only live streams, but it also records. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download and put on the server all of the videos I've done on Facebook, and I'm going to start uploading them to my YouTube channel, and I will post it as well. If you would like for me to cross post to Dallas area Pagans, I'm happy to do that, right? I will also be creating a Open Pagan Church YouTube for cross posting of these videos as well, because Open Pagan Church videos are not copyrighted. They're free out there for anybody who want to download them, represent them, do pretty well whatever they want to with them. Let's see what else we got here. All right, Robert, I missed that one. I did pin up at the top, and where that post came from Robert. I did pin up the top, and FYI, Facebook killed the last week, actually, I think the last couple of weeks' videos, with no notice, no, here's why we're doing it. I reached out and said, hey, you know, what the hell? Why are you censoring my videos? Why were they deleted? No reply. So Facebook and their Gestapo censoring ways. I get it. Facebook needs to try to help with some of these crazy ass live videos that people are putting out. Live streaming of murders and live streaming of crimes taking place, such as that. But Facebook is censoring religious content videos. Facebook is starting to censor religious content videos that does not go along with the normal society philosophy, if you will. And along with the topic, it's not God's fault. It's not the God's fault that Facebook is being an asshole. It's not the God's fault that Facebook algorithm censorships are censoring videos who essentially are harmless. So if they want to censor this video, that's fine. It is pre-recorded. It will be uploaded to the Open Pagan Church YouTube page, which will be formed at some point today. And those people that are watching the pre-recorded version of this aren't going to know what today is. Today is June 25th, 2017. Right. Not God's fault. Well, what do you have? Put in the chat area some of the things that have happened to you, and make it short. You know, maybe 2 or 3 sentences, maybe a paragraph. We don't want a book for people to read. But what are some of the things that have happened to you through the years that has caused you to blame the gods, so to speak? If you can, put that in there. No names, places, anything like that. Just put it out there, universal information. And I'm going to unpin that top comment so that we can see what everybody's putting out there. Yeah. Robert's actually got a good point. He says, I've always said pagans who own Facebook groups that they have all the power. He said, I've always reminded them that they're only leasing that group from a very Christian organization. He's very right there. Let's see. Robert said he blamed the gods on Tiger's death. Yeah. When we lose an animal that we love, we're real quick to blame the gods, when in all reality, our animals get sick. They get old. They die, just like we do. Just like human beings do. Jennifer says, I wonder why and you know, sometimes our animals get hit by a car. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and of course Camille just reminded me that of Tiger. And you know, I'm always sorry for people's loss of their animals and their pets, because they're like family. But you know, sometimes bad things happen. We can't blame everything on the gods. Jennifer says, I wonder why I had to lose my mom, dad, and brother, left with a sister that hates me. Often wondered why God put us here. Well, that type of thought process comes from social programming. It comes from the society programming that God knows all. God's hand is in everything. Everything that happens, God knows about it. Everything that happened, God, God controls it. And I have never, ever believed that. I've never believed, and I've proven to myself many, many times and to others that momentum and cause and effect happen to people every day. The reason no one's going to have the answer as to why your sister hates you, with the exception of your sister. Your sister's going to have to live with that hate, and she is going to have to figure out why it is she hates you. Now, if I don't know the circumstances, so I'm not placing blame, but if you said or did something in the past, maybe when you were younger teens, if you said something that really effed up your sister's life, or you did something that really messed her up, I don't know, wrong place at the wrong time type situation. Maybe it's a cause and effect of something that happened in your childhood. Maybe she blames you for your family's demise or passing. I don't know. But if you know, or you think you know, then maybe you need to approach her with it. But in open-minded thinking, and I'm not talking about placing undue blame on self, I'm talking about what's called open-minded meditation. Open-minded meditation is where you, in a meditative state, you start opening your mind to things that happened when you were younger. Watching the films play in the back of your mind of things that were done when you were younger at or about the time when the individual or persons started to dislike you or hate you. And it's not easy. It's not easy to do open-minded meditation and to look at ourselves and our things that we did when we were younger. But if you can't see anything then, you have to be willing to approach your sister, your best friend, whatever, whoever you grew up with that might suddenly woke up one day and go, I hate you. I don't want anything else to do with you, blah, 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 blah. The only thing you can do is approach them and say, hey, what the hell? What is your problem? What did I do to cause you, or what happened to cause you to hate me so much? And then you have to shut up and listen. Let them get all the way through with what they're saying. Let them get it completely out. And it may be something totally stupid, like they blame you for your family's demise, or losing your mom, your dad, and your brother. Maybe she blames you for it. I don't know. But you cannot blame the gods, God, Goddess, God, Jesus, whatever. You cannot blame deity for something you couldn't control. And if it's something that happened that maybe you feel you caused the situation, then maybe you need to take a look at the actions or inaction and see if maybe your actions somewhere may have caused it. I don't think so, but reply. She said my dead mother never loved me. So I'm done talking. I feel bad for saying all this now. She's 9 years older than me. Well, all right, Jennifer, don't feel, and see, here's the thing. When we ask for you to put your story out here, and I make a reply to it, I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong. I'm just saying don't blame the gods for something that may well be your sister's fault. And if your sister keeps putting in your head, right? If your sister keeps putting in your head that your mom never loved you anyway. Oh, I mean, I'm done talking to her. Okay, well, I get that, all right? If you're done with it, you're done with it. Move on, let her go, wish her well. But here's something that might help you. If you're done with it, right? Light a candle, preferably a white one or a clear one. Remember, I'm shaman. We don't use color with our candles. And wish her well. Send her on her way. And just, you know, come the day that she comes back into your life, then you can just say, you're not going to treat me that way. I am not going to be treated that way, either by you or anyone else, for that matter. You nor no one else is going to treat me that way. Right? And, you know, we all have a story to tell that could very easily be blamed on the gods and goddesses. That could very easily be blamed on deity of one form or another, because as human beings, we really don't want to, one, take responsibility for those actions, or two, put blame where blame is due. Right? So one of the first things that we can do to get past this is to let people be who they are. Just let them be. You know, like with Jennifer, you can't control your sister's actions. The only thing you can do is control your reactions to her actions. And if you change those reactions and you just let her be, just let her go, let her do her thing, then no matter how you look at it, you're in the right, because you're not reacting to those actions. And I have had many people through the years blame me for something that they did or they didn't do, or they blame me for their actions or inactions to something, because after all, I'm the pagan minister. I'm supposed to be able to stop them from doing stupid shit. You know, I'm the pagan minister. I'm supposed to be able to stop people from doing stupid shit. No, not my responsibility. You do stupid shit. Now, in retrospect, if I was sitting here like some of the Christian preachers out there going, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," blah, blah, blah. Or, gays and lesbians are going to hell because they're not like us. They don't follow God's word. Bullshit. Really? What that is doing is perpetrating hate. That is perpetrating discrimination. If I was the type of minister that sit here and told people to hate other people because they're different, then I would be no better than any Christian preacher out there slamming a gavel or slamming his fist on a Bible on the pedestal. No. I'm a pagan minister. My thought, my philosophies, my processes are let people be. Let people be who they are. Don't blame the gods for people being how they are. Put blame where blame is due. Right? Now I want to take a quick break. I want to let my voice rest, and I want to readjust my air conditioner a little bit. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little more about how we can stop blaming the gods for the things that the gods have no control over. So we'll see you right back here in about, for about 3 or 4 minutes. Take a pause for the cause, get you something to drink or whatever, and we'll see you right back here.
Please don't drift off and leave me here in a sea of weird. Don't be fake, mate, 'cause you'll lose that love. You forget the point and the power of words. Are you still out there? Are you still with me, friend? Because enough is enough. I won't take the brunt. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm talking to my brothers and sisters. I miss the conversations between us. There's nothing wrong with being a dreamer. So where are you now? Where are you now? I'm talking to the liars and cheaters, the ones who hate the truth to deceive us. There's nothing wrong with being a dreamer. So where are you now? Where are you now? Are you still out there? Are you still out there? I'm talking to my brothers and sisters. I miss the conversations between us. There's nothing wrong with being a dreamer. So where are you now? Where are you now? My brothers and sisters, I miss the conversations between us. There's nothing wrong with being a dreamer. So where are you now? Where are you now? I'm talking to the liars and cheaters, the ones who hate the truth to deceive us. There's nothing wrong with being a dreamer. So where are you now? Where are you now? Where are you now?
All right. Had to make sure I had everything muted and unmuted that was supposed to be muted and unmuted. Yeah. Make sure I get all those buttons flipped and knobs twisted and what have you. Right. So for those just coming in, welcome. We're talking about, as you can tell, it's not God's fault. And let's look at some of the atrocities, right, going on in the world today. North Korea, being what North Korea is, they're a communist state. They're run by a dictator. Their thought processes is to take over the world. They want to run the world. And if you look at the size of North Korea, they're like this little bitty square box on a great big planet, and they're going to rule the world. They're going to take out America. And, you know, God has nothing to do with that. That's stupid people doing stupid shit. And, you know, let's take a look at terrorists. Oh my God. Over the last, 15 plus years, terrorism has more than tripled in the world between attacks on America and attacks on Britain. Bless their heart, the British have had their ass handed to them over the last 6 months or a year. You know, terrorism has nothing to do with God or Goddess or Allah for the Muslims. Terrorism has really nothing to do with the Muslim religion. And it has everything to do with stupid people doing stupid shit. Because they're stupid. I don't blame God for terrorist attacks or the goddess. When I sit on and I watch on the TV all of these, people that are going on marches and they're standing out there jumping up and down and screaming and hollering, that's fine. But when you're in a situation where you begin to destroy public property or private property, and you begin to hurt people to forward your own agenda, then you're no better than the people that you're fighting against that's putting that agenda out there to begin with. Look at the American health care right now. Oh my God, don't even get me started on that. God has nothing to do with that. I hate to say it, but right now, it's all to the Congress. I don't blame God for Congress being stupid. I don't even blame God for the president being stupid. Stupid people do stupid shit. So how, in this segment, right, how do we get past the social programming of it's God's fault, it's the goddess's fault? How could the gods let me get this sick? How could the gods let my pet be taken from me? How could the gods let my family be taken from me? Well, that's kind of selfish, don't you think? And this is where it's going to get a little harsh for some of you to hear. But let's think about this for a minute. God and Goddess did not break my little finger. God and Goddess did not cause me to lose my last job that I had just prior to this one I've had now almost 5 years. The gods did not cause the death of my grandmother back in the day. The gods did not cause my marriages of the past to fail, my relationships of the past to fail. So how do you get where you stop blaming the gods for things that have happened to you? Stop being selfish. Stop making it all about you. Stop being the victim. Everything that happens is not about you, or about me, or about my neighbor. The things that happen have little to nothing to do with whether or not the gods are pissed off at us. Now, I realize some could say, well, Don, you sound an awful lot like an atheist sitting there. No, I'm not an atheist. I am very pagan. I have very strong convictions and faith in the God and Goddess and in the triad that I follow. I have very strong convictions and faith in Spirit Guide, Council, God and Goddess, Great Spirit. But I also know that I am not the only human on this planet that believes in, follows, and worships them and asks for a hand from time to time. When I go to council and I go to altar and I ask for help and wisdom and understanding from the gods, do I expect it? No. If I expected it, that would be selfish on my part, self-centered on my part. But we do ask, like Camille, like Cindy said, we do ask. We go and we ask for assistance and wisdom to help show us our way. And if possible, and the gods happen to notice, oh, look, they're doing as good as they can. So let's sweep down real quick and pat them on the ass and show them which direction to go before we go help the other billions of souls that need our help. And Cindy says they help when needed. There have been times when I have been so down on my luck that I wake up the next morning and there's a bit of a ray of sunshine. There's a little bit of a light at the end of that tunnel. But it is my responsibility to fight for that light, to keep that momentum going for that light. And when I trip and stumble and fall, I don't blame it on the gods. I sit back and I say, well, hell, maybe I need to start watching where I'm going. Maybe I need to start watching where I'm stepping and where I'm going so that I don't trip and stumble and fall. But it's not the God's fault if I trip and stumble and fall. It's not the God's fault if I decide to run into a brick wall. The brick wall is there. Surely the hell I can see it. If I decide to run headlong smack into it, it's not the God's fault. So how do I stop blaming the gods for everything that happens? One, I lose the social programming of Christian society of over 3,500, 4,000 years of Christian programming that has wormed its way into the human DNA and has wormed its way into the auto thought processes of human beings. So when people come over to the Christian philosophy because they want a better way that's for them, they bring that social programming with them. And they need to leave it behind. They need to let it go. Because the only way you're ever going to get past blaming the gods for everything is when you sit and you realize your own momentum, your own cause and effect, and the possibility of you being hung up in someone else's cause and effect. Let's see what Michelle writes. Okay. Michelle says, I do believe that certain things happen that are from the gods. For instance, I lost my part-time job in February and didn't know how I was going to make ends meet. The next day, my windows started leaking in the apartment for the 5th time in a year. Not only did not only was I able to get out of my lease, but my leasing office paid for me to move into a cheaper apartment. All right. So let's take a look at something. The losing of the part-time job, I believe, had nothing to do with the gods. Part-time job, right? The window started leaking, started a catalyst, and the gods may well have been there to work on the conscience of the leasing office. I get it. Rock and roll. And, you know, Michelle admits, losing my job was my fault. Can't blame the gods for anything. Yeah, you know. And, you know, it's at the point in today's society where it's at the point in today's society where we have become such a society of it's not my fault. You know, I deal with it all the time at work. It's not my fault. And Robert says, oh, but Shaman, worse than blaming the gods is refusing to quit blaming yourself. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. And I was actually moving into that, you know, thank you, Robert, by the statement, we are programmed as human beings, it's not my fault, blame it on someone else. Well, you know, therein comes back to that open-minded meditation, right? Open-minded meditation, where you set out to look at a situation, right? We take a memory off of the shelf that we know we have to deal with. We put it on the table, we open it up, and we sit there and we look at it. And I like to kick back, take a deep breath, and look at the situation. And I start stepping that situation back, okay? And I'll use the example of the loss of a job, okay? Well, the loss of a job can come from many different things. But if I step it back and I look at my action, reaction, words, lack of action or lack of words at the right time, if I take a look at those leading up to the point where I lost that job, I can normally see a momentum or a track that has started taking place that led up to the loss of the job. Okay? So if it comes back and that action ended up being my own fault, I have to take it, own it, forgive myself for it, and move on. So you're absolutely right. If it does end up, for a fact, being your fault, you have to accept that fault, accept that it's your issue, you caused it. Let it go and move on, right? Okay? Well, Dave says, it is our fault if we do not understand what we're confronted with as far as lessons go? Well, see, that all depends on the lesson. Every day, everything we do, every time we interact with other people or we refuse to interact with other people, that is a lesson. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we not doing this? If we have the opportunity to reach out to other people, but to do it responsibly and respectfully, and we decide not to, why? And if we, like you said, if we find ourselves being more or too emotional, then we need to understand why we are too emotional. Jamie says, things happen because they just happen. As a pagan, we only have ourselves to control or to deal with. If there is blame to be had, if there's blame to be had, it is on you, not the gods. But if there's credit that is also not theirs, the gods guide by example. Well, I see that to a point, but I also say things happen because they just happen. I don't always believe that. I believe that everything happens because of cause and effect and momentum, like I said earlier, right? The cause or the effect of the cause of me hitting a wall can be many-fold. If I hit it wrong, I can break a knuckle. But if I break the wall, I have to pay to replace it or repair it. There could be other causes and effects by that. However, let's follow along with this, okay? Here's a scenario, and I'm going to give you this scenario, make a couple of more statements, and we're going to have to start winding down so we can get ready for UnitedPaganRadio.net. And I've got a couple other statements I want to make about the changes up and coming in our broadcast and presentation. So stay with me, don't go anywhere. Take a look at this scenario. I'm sitting in the front yard of the place we live in now, okay? I'm sitting out there, I'm enjoying a vape and a Dr. Pepper. Just kind of enjoying what quiet time you can enjoy in a neighborhood full of people. And I have sit out there to kind of meditate a little bit, just kind of chill. All of a sudden, 3 days later, I wake up in a hospital. I'm all busted up. I'm in a body cast, right? Arms and legs are all tethered out. What the hell? And it is explained to me that a driver going too fast on a public street where there's kids playing swerved to miss a kid's ball. In the process of swerving, the driver loses control and ends up hitting me in the process. And I wasn't the only one hurt. Several people on the street were hurt. There was a baby, a young child that was hurt. There was adults that were hurt. Several automobiles destroyed. And the driver was killed in the process. Now, this isn't real. It didn't happen. I haven't seen any newsreels on it. This is a scenario. Is it the God's fault that I wasn't doing anything or to anyone or causing any issue with anyone? I was sitting out there enjoying the peace and quiet of the neighborhood. Is it the God's fault? No. Is it my fault because I chose that moment in time to go sit out in my yard and enjoy some peace and quiet? Is it my fault? No. I got caught up in someone else's momentum. I got caught up in someone else's cause and effect. Now, the individual that was driving the car that seriously injured a lot of people is dead and gone. You know, I can't go I can't go whoop their ass because they put me in the hospital. They're already dead. And, well, I'm all busted up in the hospital. So, how am I going to whoop anybody's ass anyway? Now, there are a boatload of other causes and effects that happen after that. But I cannot blame on the gods the fact that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now let's turn that just a little bit, okay? I'm going to play with time-space continuum. I'm going to play with time-space continuum. Alright, here we go. Reel back. I head to go outside. I got my Dr. Pepper, I've got my vape, I've got a bottle of fluid, I've got extra batteries, my phone is with me. I am prepared to go outside and chill. But as I'm walking out the door, Spirit Guide tells me that's not a good idea. Right now is not a good idea. Okay. I learned a long time ago. A long time ago, I listen to Spirit Guide whenever I can. But I turn around, I think, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom anyway. So I go to the bathroom, I got my phone, I'm playing my little game, I'm sitting there doing my business, and all of a sudden the house shakes and moves, and I hear this crazy ass crash. What the hell? So I go running for the front door, and I can't open the front door. The front door is jammed and the wall is all screwed up. What the hell? So I come back in, I've got my phone, right? I go out the garage door opens, I walk out there, and there's this twisted mangled mass of metal that is nose in the flower, the garden thing out here where I would have been sitting, and the great big mound of dirt and concrete that's out there is the only thing that kept that vehicle from coming into the office. But it twisted the house just enough that the front door wouldn't open. Holy shit, that's where I was going to be sitting. Thank you. I mean, Spirit Guide sitting there going, that's not a real good idea right now. You need to go take a dump. That's what you need to do. Spend a few minutes somewhere else, but you don't need to go outside. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to give thanks where thanks is due. And some could come back and say, well, why didn't Spirit Guide stop you in the first example when you were going out there? I don't know. I don't know. And what's better, I'm not going to blame it on them for not. The reason I'm not going to blame it on spirit guides, council, gods and goddesses, because I am not a perpetual victim. I do not try to blame something on something else or someone else for things that I know I have, like Jamie says, a choice over. It's all about choices. If you hear spirit guide talking to you, it's still your choice as to whether or not to follow the guidance. If spirit guide's not talking, one, are you not listening? Two, are they off doing other things that's more important than you? If they are, tough shit. Get over it. It's not all about you. It's not all about me. It's not all about the individual person. And Robert makes a good point. I'm not convinced that the gods spend their eternal days planning lessons for us. You're right. They don't. However, as a shaman, we believe that when you oath to the council and you start your studentry, then those spirit guides that are given to you at the time to start your training, it is your teacher's responsibility to assist you in analyzing what that training is and to teach our students, okay, that sometimes it has nothing to do with the gods. It is a simple cause and effect and momentum. When you take the oath to the tradition, you open the door to chaos, and chaos starts its training. Right? So we could get into a sociological debate about cause and effect versus training versus day-to-day life versus what the hell ever. But in the context of the title of this particular broadcast is, it's not God's fault. Everything bad or good or whatever happens to you is not always God and Goddess's fault. More times than not, you're caught up in someone else's momentum. Think about that when you blame God and Goddess for things that are happening to you or things that aren't happening to you. Let's say you can't find a mate. It's because you're not looking. Something inside you may not truly want to find a mate. I don't know. I can't answer that for you. But, right. So I do want to bring this up. We are 37 minutes past the hour. We're going to go ahead and draw to close. It's not God's fault. And I do want to say some of the changes in our broadcasting style is going to be that I will be also, during the live broadcast, I will be recording these videos, saving them to my server as an archive, and I will be also uploading them to the Celtic Shaman YouTube page, for which I will put in the link here shortly. I will also be forming a Open Pagan Church page where I will try to simulcast live, but I don't think I'll be able to. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our live presentation here on Facebook. Then I will upload those videos at some point that day to the Open Pagan Church page. Right? So, that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope to see you shortly, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on UnitedPaganRadio.net. We've got a good topic we're going to be talking about today. Hope to see you there. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, gang. Good discussion as always.